All right, so today we're diving into a really fascinating story. It's about this fortress, but it's not just built of stone, it's built on pure pride. A place so obsessed with denying reality that, well, it kind of forgot what it was even hiding from. And we're going to see what happens when that bill finally comes due.
Yeah, this quote, it just nails the whole conflict, doesn't it? You've got this world that's so wrapped up in its own security, so convinced it's safe, that it completely loses sight of the danger. But here's the thing, as we're about to find out, that's a debt that always gets collected.
Okay, so our story kicks off at the iron gates of an abbey. And right away, I want you to just toss out any ideas you might have of, quiet monks and peaceful prayer. No, this place was engineered for one single purpose, to build a bubble. A bubble of what they called unearned sanctuary and stagnant peace. Basically, to wall themselves off from all the messy chaos of the real world.
And this is where you can really see the two major forces at play. It's a perfect setup. On one hand, you have the Abbey, this gilded cage, right? A fortress built specifically to deny that anything could ever fall apart. And on the other hand, you have the Spectre. It's basically the inevitable in physical form. It's that silent, nagging reminder of mortality that they have been trying so desperately to forget.
So, how does the end begin? It's not with some huge army or a battering ram. No, it starts with something much quieter. Rusted footprints. Think about that. They're the very first physical sign that something is wrong, that corruption is literally seeping into this perfectly sterile world. It's like a quiet promise that the natural order is on its way to reclaim what was taken from it.
All right, let's head inside, because inside this fortress, it's not just the stone walls that are defensive. The very mindset of the people there is a fortress in itself, and that's where we meet the man who is the living embodiment of all that arrogance.
Just look at this imagery for a second. The high priest is standing on a floor made of polished silver. I mean, it's gorgeous, right? Super reflective, and also completely superficial. Its entire job is to hide the emptiness, the void that's lurking just below. So the very ground they stand on, the foundation of this entire place, it's a total illusion. And so is the man standing on it. This really gets to the heart of the priest's whole deal, what's called the Pharisee's paradox. See, he's using all these absolute laws and rules not for actual spiritual growth, but as a shield. For a guy like him, a sterile, predictable safety is always better than the messy, chaotic, and unpredictable reality of actually growing or becoming.
But here's the thing about the Spectre. It's not there to get into some debate about rules and dogma. Nope. Its purpose is way deeper than that. It's there to hold up a mirror, to force this little bubble world and its arrogant leader to finally take a hard look at their true reflection, stagnant, totally empty, and deep down terrified. And this is the moment it all clicks for the priest, a moment of pure, terrifying clarity. He realizes the Spectre isn't some monster he can just banish. It's something else, a shadow savior. It's like an internal correction for the world he's built. It's not there to just destroy him, it's there to harvest all the vanity he has spent a lifetime growing.
Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into the philosophy of all this decay. Because for the Spectre, the rot isn't just in the people. Oh no, it sees it literally woven into the fabric of the place. The architecture, the art, even the mathematics of the abbey itself. So, you walk through the halls, and they're covered in these incredibly beautiful, complex fractal patterns made of gold leaf. They look sacred, right? Like they hold some deep, profound meaning, but they don't. It's all a fake. They're just an infinite nesting of empty shapes, designed for one reason, to distract you from the coming rot that's at the very core of everything.
And this is where the Spectre just lays it all out, the logic of their decay. It's like, look, you built these geometric patterns to act as a shield, but in reality, all they became was an endless repetition of your own emptiness. And the consequence? Their souls just withered away inside these perfect but totally hollow shapes. That's the fractal infinite in a nutshell. Their own decay just repeating itself at every possible scale, from the patterns on the walls right down to their very souls.
They even had a fancy name for their defenses. Apollonian gaskets. Sounds impressive, right? These intricate, supposedly perfect structures of protection. But the Spectre pulls back the curtain and shows them what they really are. Shadowlands. Just silent prisons where the soul goes to die. And their big puzzle? Their problem of Apollonius? It finally gets solved when it's revealed that the little circles of their protected lives fit perfectly inside the one giant circle they were trying to avoid. Death.
So, with that absolute philosophical takedown complete, the argument is over.
Now the confrontation gets physical. The entire false reality of the Abbey, this thing built on nothing but contempt and denial, it just starts to collapse under the sheer weight of the truth.
And what's the first thing to go? All their tools of security. But it's not because of brute force, it's something much more fundamental. The Spectre's breath, described as being as cold and pure as mountain frost, it just melts their strongest locks. All of that artificial security is completely meaningless when it comes up against the real natural world.
Then you start to see the very symbols of their power and their wealth begin to physically corrupt. That defiant gold on the spires, it starts to tarnish. And what do you see in its reflection? Not some glorious, bright sun at noon. No, it reflects the bruised purple of a setting sun. I mean, that's the color of an ending right there.
And this whole collapse, it's not quiet. It's described as a rhythmic panic. You can almost feel it, a shudder running through the very foundations of their world. So you see, it's not just about destruction. It's an awakening, a really harsh, violent, and frankly, long overdue awakening from a dream they put themselves into. So, you might be asking, what's the point of all this destruction? Well, it's in the aftermath that we finally see the Spectre's true purpose. This wasn't some random, meaningless tragedy. It was a course correction, a necessary rebalancing. You could even call it a harvest. And really, it all comes down to perspective, doesn't it? For the outside world, looking in, this was a tragedy. A beautiful, sacred place was destroyed. But from the Spectre's viewpoint, it was a necessary transformation. Because, let's be real, you can't just build a wall to block out reality and then act surprised when there are consequences. And this, right here, is the absolute core of the Spectre's wisdom. The folks in the Abbey, they tried to engineer a life without any decay, without the messiness of death. But what did they actually create? Something completely meaningless. A life with no stakes, no real risk. That's just a harvest of vanity. It's nothing more than a collection of empty trophies. And here's where we see the ultimate price of that denial. Remember that polished silver floor we talked about? That gilded cage? Well, it's gone. And what's in its place? The bloody, messy, brutal reality it was built to hide. Their so-called sun of human achievement is now literally drowning in the pool of gore they spent their whole lives pretending wasn't there. So when you boil it all down, what the Spectre really delivered was a lesson. A brutal one for sure, but a lesson nonetheless. It brought this crimson gift to a culture that had completely forgotten the most fundamental truth there is. It was teaching the sacred knowledge of the end to a group of people who honestly believed they could live forever.
And that leaves us with a pretty big question to chew on, doesn't it? When a fortress, even a beautiful one, is built for the sole purpose of denying the truth, is tearing it down an act of tragedy? Or is it an act of revelation? Is its destruction a loss? Or is it a kind of liberation?